All right, I'm not sure why, but my voice kept breaking up during the recording. I guess all I can do is try to keep my distance from the mic or keep my voice lower next time. There's nothing I can really do about it, I don't think, for this episode, so try to bear with it.
I'm Seth Mariano.
I'm Jordan Smith.
And happy Juneteenth, everyone. Yes, today, the anniversary of when it was announced in the last state to have institutional slavery that slaves were free. And just a couple days back, President Biden signed a new law recognizing it as a national American holiday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Juneteenth was like a 2-day thing as well, wasn't it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could have sworn it somehow spanned over 2 days, but maybe I was thinking of something else.
Today we're picking up in progress what we began last time we met episodes ago, the 25 things you don't know about me lists, inspired by Us Weekly Magazine's sort of celebrity interview 25 things list. And my number 13 one, the next one up, and I have some visual aid for this.
Okay.
So I'm going to grab my stuff here. I am a NASCAR fan, and I have 2 toy cars that I got from the Daytona International Speedway. One is a Kyle Busch car, and the other is Tony Stewart, and I have them up here.
Okay. I can see them, yep.
Yeah.
Now, did you actually go to the Speedway to get them, or?
Well, this was just after I had just started to kind of get interested in NASCAR racing. I went to a OC's class, Board of Cooperative Educational Services class, with someone who was really into the sport.
Okay.
And I started to get into it shortly after I met him, and after the summer after I graduated high school, we took a family trip to Florida with the intention of doing Disney, and we did that. We stayed in a house, went to Disney, and I also sold my family on the idea of taking a little visit to the National Speedway, the world center of racing. Yeah. Did the tram tour. Got a photo taken in Victory Lane. Got to see Trevor Bayne's winning car display. And I got these cars here. There's the Kyle
Very cool
one. And then the Stewart car right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so mine, number 13, was also based on NASCAR, simply because when I was seeing your list, I noticed you were going to talk about it. It's like, you know what, I'll throw my little NASCAR tidbit in there too. I was really big into NASCAR when Jimmy Johnson was involved. I think I first started following it after he won his second consecutive Sprint Cup out of the 5 that he got.
And he ended up getting 7 overall.
Yeah, he got 7 overall, and 5 of them were back-to-back, I believe.
First 5 were in a row, yeah.
Yep. Once he... I think technically he retired, and then he went over to Formula One, I think it was.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, I know he retired from the kind of racing he'd been doing for a while, and it sounded like he was going to be done completely with racing, but he went just to a different type. And I believe it was Formula One, but I could be wrong. But The thing is, after he retired from that branch of NASCAR, I kind of stopped following it as much.
Yeah, well, I haven't actually been watching any NASCAR in a few weeks. I've been like focused on exercise and other things, but I think soon I will start watching again, though.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, and he tied the all-time record for most championships with Richard Petty and the late Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yep.
You know, which is cool to find out about.
Who knows? Maybe someday somebody will get 8 of them.
But yeah, I like Johnson. I liked a few of them, including him, Tony Stewart, the Bush brothers. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Mine, and I have another visual aid for this. I'll get that ready right now.
Okay.
A former Buffalo Bills wide receiver named Donald Jones has guest appeared in our church on 2 Sundays for on-stage interviews with Esther. I was there both days and got his autograph each time. The last one was in my copy of his book, The Next Quarter, which was being sold there. And this is my copy.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
Yeah. And I've got the autograph here on the inside cover. Here it is, the autograph he signed for me.
Yeah, for those who can't see it, I can guarantee you that's a legit signature.
Yeah, that was nice. I know the first time I was running camera for both services, and you can see the first interview on Lakeshore Community Church has a Vimeo page. You can see it. See the interview on.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, and it's a good book. It's a good autobiography. I think it taught me a lot about what it's really like, how hard it really is to, get pros and stay on a team and stuff like that, and how hard you got to work and on the shenanigans, and how it's not always totally as innocent and fair as it may look to the outside world. It's a very telling book.
Gotcha. All right. So, for my number 14, I wrote that I have only been to Disney World once, and I was 6 years old at the time, but despite me being so young, I still remember some things very vividly.
You remember, what year was this?
Let's see, I was 6, so that would have been 2002, 2003.
So you were born 96, 97?
96, yep.
Okay. And have like stick out favorite memory of that experience you want to share?
Well, I think the biggest thing I remember from that trip, there was actually 3. One was when we went to see Aladdin and the Genie, and we still have a photo of this, when my brother took a photo with them. The Genie, just to be funny, kind of covered his eyes during the photo. Like he put his hands over my brother's eyes just so he couldn't see. Another one was when we were at a diner and Mickey covered my eyes and I didn't even see him coming. So I just saw these big white gloves covering my face, and it was kind of funny.
Like a classic Guess Who moment, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I think the most prominent memory that I have was when we went into a little toy store area, and my mom told me that I was starting to get a little upset because the line was just taking so long to get through. But once we got through, met Buzz and Woody, it was fantastic. And then I think they still have this. It's a ride where it's like a Buzz Lightyear themed ride, and you shoot lasers to get points. And I still remember going through that tunnel and shooting things with my laser gun. It was so much fun.
Oh yes, 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 and yeah, yeah. I listed a fact about Disney World. That's coming up later.
Okay.
Years. Yeah, just it's just been starting to sprinkle rain, so I opened up the patio umbrella so to protect my stuff from the water.
Gotcha. That's smart.
Didn't say in the forecast it was going to rain, but yeah, it's sprinkling right now.
Yeah, I can't tell if it is or not here where I am sitting at this spot because I'm in the basement and the blinds are closed, so I can't really see outside at the moment.
All right.
But it
All right,
definitely looked like it was going to.
Okay, so my next one is I have fallen multiple times going down my stairs and multiple times going up also.
Did you ever get like an actual injury from that happening or not?
Nothing too bad. I mean, maybe an occasional little brush burn or something, but never,
All right.
never really, I never really broke anything.
I think I tumbled down the stairs once, but I somehow didn't get any injuries either.
Well, I'm guessing you didn't get concussed.
Thankfully, no. The only thing I remember doing is the moment I stopped, I just started bawling my eyes out.
Because it was so painful?
Probably because it was painful at the time. I was also really young when it happened. And it was a shock to me. And I typically am not a fan of things that come out of the blue and shock me.
Fair enough.
So it was probably because it hurt and then shock value.
Okay, what's your next one?
For 15, I said that I like to make YouTube and sometimes even TikTok videos, but at the same time, I don't always have the motivation to actually do it, which is why if somebody were to go to my YouTube page, they might notice that there's some large gaps in between videos.
Large time gaps.
Yeah, time gaps, yeah.
So what's going on with TikTok? Have you been hearing in the news about like what's going on with like was there like a ban or something on it because of its roots in Asia or something?
When Trump was in office, he was trying to have the app banned altogether because of where it originated, supposedly, or its apparent connections to Asia or something. And it seemed like it was going to happen. And then right around the time when it was supposed to, TikTok made a video themselves saying, yeah, we're not shutting down. I don't know what reversed that, but it's still running.
All right. So my next one is I visited Disney World at least 3 times. There are at least a couple rides that I have never ridden, including the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay.
I
think.
Yeah.
Have you mentioned the Rock and Roller Coaster? I cannot speak. Rock and Roller Coaster before? I feel like we've talked about it at least once.
Yeah, we have briefly before. For some reason, it came up.
I think what it might have been in part 1 when I brought up something that I didn't like in amusement parks is rides with spinning and sudden drops. I think that's when you threw that in there.
Maybe, but I don't really know. I'm not sure I know enough about the ride, actually.
Gotcha.
But at some point, I think I want to go back and maybe cover pretty much all the rides that I've yet to do. I might have done Expedition Everest. I don't remember. Nah, I don't think I did. I might get around to it, and I think a lot of the stuff was fun.
All right. Maybe you can get like a checklist or something going so you know which ones you have or have not done. So that when you go
Yeah,
there, you can check off the ones you didn't do.
yeah, I might go to the website and go through the list, see what I've covered, see what I haven't.
All right.
Okay, your next one.
Yep. Let's see. Number 16. I wrote, with all the theatrical shows that I have been in, I have had to attempt several accents. Like,
And I know you've done George Banks, you've done Sebastian,
yep.
and since
Let's see.
Lumiere, I
Yep.
remember now.
Yeah, the first time I did an accent, it was actually in my very first show, almost 10 years ago now. My character didn't have to use a French accent the whole time, but for whatever reason, during his semi-solo song, I was asked to use a French accent, so I went for it. It wasn't the best, but hey, it was my first attempt. And then jumping to Mary Poppins, I was Mr. Banks, like you said, so I had to do a British accent. Following year, I was Lumiere, so I had to do a French one again. Little Mermaid, I did a Jamaican accent. So I've had my experiences. And of course, since I'm not a professional in any of them, they might have not been the best sounding versions of those accents, but I felt they were solid attempts.
Not that I've done this, but did you ever play videos or with celebrities to kind of get a feel for the accent?
Oh yeah, like I would find celebrities that had the accent and then try to imitate them to some degree. Like I know, I was about to say Tom Hiddleston, but it's Tom Holland who has a somewhat British accent. See, who was the other one? I know there was at least one more, but I can't remember his name.
Uh,
I had it for a second and then I lost it.
You remember what he was in?
I did for a second and then I just drew a blank, so I'm having trouble.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, sounds like you've had some fun exploring accents.
Oh, I definitely have. Absolutely.
All right. And my number 17 fact, I rode the Tennessee Tornado at Dollywood on my Christmas vacation in 2019. It was actually my first time riding a roller coaster with any.
It was your first time riding a roller coaster, what?
With any loops.
Oh, okay.
And I was 26 years old at this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually done any. Actually, no. I was about to say I don't think I've done roller coasters with loops in them, but there was one where it's not like the traditional roller coaster where you're sitting down. It's one of the ones where like you're strapped in and your feet dangle. And I think that one had a loop or two in it.
I think Darien Lake has one of those.
Is that where I did it? It was either that or I think it might have been around Hershey Park. It was one of those two places where I rode a roller coaster like that had a loop.
A pretty good time. Some good rides, a good coaster-ish rides, like one called the Mystery Mine or something, and there are a few different ones that were good there.
All right. Well, where was this again?
Dollywood. in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and my brother
Oh,
Jesse he lives in Nashville. We all five of us stayed in a cabin in Sevierville, Tennessee, and spent some time in Hollywood while we were there.
gotcha. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, we stayed in the Smoky Mountains. Had a little Smoky Mountain Christmas.
In like a cabin of some kind, or your brother's house,
Yeah.
or what?
No, he lives in Nashville. We rented a cabin in Sevierville.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
All right, my next one is that I have been to New York City a small handful of times, maybe 2 or 3 at least, but I have only seen the Statue of Liberty up close once.
I went through such a naive stage when I was younger. I thought someday I'm gonna be a big celebrity. I'm gonna maybe move to New York City, and taken then one day, like during a Christmas break, my parents took me there when I was a kid, like 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 maybe around freshman year of high school, during a December break, and I did not do so good. I got kind of sick. I wasn't used to like people pushing stuff in your face for you to buy, and but we had some good pizza. Got to go to Times Square, do some walking around, which was probably the toughest part, walking in such a crowd. But at least I survived.
Yeah, it can get pretty busy down there, but if you get the full experience, then it's still pretty fun.
I have thought about going back there and just to go see the Mets play. And unlike you, I haven't seen the statue in person. But
Well, there's one thing I can say in that a lot of pictures of the Statue of Liberty, they make it seem like really, really tall. And don't get me wrong, it still is, but when you go to see it up close, it doesn't look as tall as photos make it to be.
I remember when I went to Daytona, the banks of that racetrack never looked as high.
I think a lot of camera angles will make that happen.
I guess if you really want to grasp or really have it register how difficult it must be for a car to race on a track like that, you gotta go see it in person probably.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. All right, what's your next one?
All right. I once cut my own hair, and my mom, rightfully so, got mad at me for it. The next day, though, I got complimented on it at least once at school. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, though.
I mean, if you got complimented on by somebody, then you must have done something right.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it again without at least reading on the internet or something about how to do it well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. This was when I was in middle school.
Gotcha.
Which probably makes it a funnier story.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've never cut my own hair before, but I believe it was when they were young. I believe it was my brother who tried to cut my sister's hair. This may have been before I was born because I don't remember it too well. But I remember this happening, and then my parents flipped out. It was pretty funny.
So, what you got next?
Okay, so for me, I wrote down that I have been singing honestly for quite a few years now, at least a decade. But much of my inspiration to start singing came from the artist known as Josh Groban. I don't remember which song I listened to that really got me into wanting to do the same thing, but around that time we were listening to a lot of his music, and after hearing a bunch of it, it's like, you know what, I want to do something like that too.
So before that, do you know what music you and your family mostly had, like at home or whatever?
There was definitely that. Newsboys was a big one growing up. Let's
That was
see.
pretty one for me too. Yeah.
Yep, that was one. Mercy Me was a big one, and I guess a lot of the other music that at least I listened to growing up was from Disney. But there were definitely still some other artists thrown in there too. I just can't think of any specific ones.
Yeah, I had a similar upbringing. With a lot of like gospel, contemporary Christian stuff, like Stephen Curtis Chapman, Brian Duncan, Mike W. Smith, um, Mercy Boys, Avalon, Point of Grace, and I think we still have several of these down in the basement to this day.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
Okay, mine is I currently work as a clerical employee. Now it's more like I'm a computer and HR worker, more accurately, in the school district I went to middle and high school in. My dad is the executive director of technology, communication, and strategic initiatives.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, did your dad help you get into that line of work, or did you find it on your own?
It was something, yeah. He helped me get into. I'm looking for employment for like a year, maybe a little more after I left the marketing company where I originally worked in Henrietta, Rochester,
Okay.
and yeah. So I guess by the time I got there, he knew a lot of the people in that up in the district office upstairs, and so, and taking he I guess he encouraged me to look into something there, and well, like within a few days or something, I got the job and started the next day, and then just a few days later, the COVID lockdown happened,
Yeah.
and that put a temporary halt to it. But eventually, I was able to go back to the office full time, and been doing it ever since.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So, my number 19, I went from my inspiration for singing to my inspiration for acting, and I was first introduced to it through our artistic director, Carl Wager. So part of it came from him, and then a lot of the inspiration for my acting going forward from there was from Robin Williams.
I grew up watching. I grew up seeing him in a few films, Jumanji, or maybe that was after I grew up. Maybe that I've seen Jumanji. I watched Hook, or saw at least a little bit of it when I was a kid, and and then a little bit of it one Christmas. I saw Flubber, and then shortly after his death, my brother and I watched Dead Poet Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, there's Aladdin.
Right. And then there was Robots, an animated film by Blue Sky Studios. I remember
Yep.
that one. Yeah, I think I still have the DVD.
I believe. Let me see. We have them in alphabetical order. One sec. Yep, it's still up there. We got it too.
Yeah, and that cast was pretty littered with all stars.
Yeah, it did. Now that you say that,
Yeah.
I think it had Drew Carey in there too, didn't it?
Yeah, and I mentioned that before briefly when we talked about celebrity voiceovers in an earlier episode.
Oh, that's right, you did.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, were there any other particular talents, actors that you liked growing up?
Let's see, actors that I like growing up. Let's see. It's hard to say, kind of, because I know when I was younger, I didn't really get the concept of actors or actresses, voice actors, whatever. Like, I remember before I kind of realized that there were actual people behind these characters, my mind kind of went to the idea that, oh, these must be actual people doing these actual things. But once I got a hold of that concept, let's see, that is an interesting one. I'll have to think about that.
So my next one is, I remember almost all of the opening monologue of the second season of Heroes, but I've never been into the show. My brother's a fan, though.
So I'm guessing through him, you kind of heard it enough that you were able to memorize it?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, what's your next one?
The next one I have is that reading is not my all-time favorite pastime, but when I do read books, my favorite kind are ones that take place in a fantasy world.
So, how about, you Harry Potter fan?
I have not read or seen anything Harry Potter related, but that kind of world is an example. Another one would be like Narnia. That's another one.
You
But
read that?
if I have read through the first 3 or 4 books, I haven't gotten through all of them yet. But I do have a special book that has them all in one, like a 7-in-1 book. But yeah, Narnia is an example. Other ones that take place in kind of like a medieval or kingdom type setting. Lord of the Rings is a good one. I guess Star Wars would kind of count.
Well, they have, novelizations of movies, probably all of them, and then there are those extended universe books.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I haven't read too many Star Wars books, but they are of interest.
Yeah, I did read a novelization of the original movie. I crawled through that one because I'm a pretty ADD guy. I mean, maybe not literally, but my attention span can be hit or miss. If I'm not really enthusiastic, it can kind of get wonky.
Sure. And I think I might still have it somewhere. It was a novelized, and I use that term loosely, novelized version of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. But even then, like, they kind of condensed it a little bit so that it didn't go into quite as much detail as the movie did. You could kind of say it was like a long summary of the film, I guess.
Okay, my next one is, I wear ankle socks every day. I don't care whether there's a leak or whatever. I'm not comfortable in longer socks.
Even if you kind of rolled them down so that they did go down to your ankles?
Yeah, I think I've tried it before. It really made me more uncomfortable, I think.
All right.
Yeah. It gets like itchy or something, so I just keep it short.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll have that issue, but I do still have longer socks, and if for whatever reason I do have that itch thing going on, then I'll just roll them down so that they do go to my ankles.
Okay, what's your next one?
All right, my next one is like I absolutely love going to the movie theater, and the most times I've seen like a film while it was in theaters was three. Like sometimes I'll
Hmm.
go back and see a movie a second time while it's still in theaters, but there was an occasion where I saw a movie three times.
So you saw the same film 3 times at the theater?
Yeah, while it was still in the movie theater, I saw it three times.
And do you remember what it was?
Definitely, because it was last year. It was the Sonic the Hedgehog film. Like, for those who do not know, I am a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and then there were several instances of different groups of people or whoever that hadn't seen it. And it's like, oh, do you want to go see it? Because I'll definitely go see it again. And they'd be like, sure. It's like, okay, let's go.
I think if I had like a sound bar, I would probably enjoy movies more than I usually do, probably.
Like a soundbar in your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Movie theaters, I think they have booming surround sound systems, and that, in a way, I think that can like add to the excitement.
Oh, okay. Like, I
Yeah, yeah.
know I knew one or two people that had kind of a surround sound thing where they had speakers in each corner of the room, and it made it sound a lot more like a movie theater.
My next one is I used manual toothbrushes until the age of 26. I'd never thought I would go electric, but now I think I'm electric for life, except for maybe when I'm traveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I was using manual ones for a while, but once I used an electronic one, it was much more efficient, honestly.
I think I had, I guess, like, if it's the right word, a reservation against electric toothbrushes or trying them because I figure because I'd seen like heads and like commercials and I thought well you can't really get that much toothpaste from them, or you can't really really rub it in that deeply, but you can though. I have to say from my own experience, you can do all that. You can get that same clean, and you probably even get a better clean from electric toothbrushes. I and it's like I like the feeling of the electric power in my mouth, and I think I'm electric to stay.
Yeah, I think I'll be sticking with those as well for quite a while because I've honestly had better results with them than manual. And I've been told anyway that generally electronic ones are a bit better.
Yeah, I can't say I've had worse dental reports since.
Yeah, I haven't had too many either. So I guess we're both sticking with them.
All right, your turn.
All right, next one, number 22, it looks like. Kind of sticking with the movie theater theme. The
All right.
first movie I ever remember seeing in a movie theater was the VeggieTales movie about Jonah.
Yeah, and I've got the DVD at home.
Yeah, oddly enough, I have two copies of it. I don't know why. Maybe at one point we lost the first one and then found it again, but yeah, we still have it and we watch it on occasion.
Now, for some reason, I think the extra features intrigued me more than the film ever did. Like there was the one commentary track where the showrunners of Rocky did a whole commentary track in character as Larry and Mr. Want.
Are you talking about the digital dailies?
No. That's for those of you who don't know, dailies is sort of a technical goofs or CGI work progress reel with scripted voiceover character dialogue in for for a comedic purpose.
Yeah.
But the commentary, there was also on the first disc a commentary track where Phil Fisher and Mike Naraki did like whole like ad lib track of dialogue as their characters Larry and Mr. Lunch, filled with all sorts of like pop culture references that only adults would recognize a lot of references, but then you might discover as you get older.
I think the digital dailies also kind of did that, because I believe they reference things like Narnia or Johnny Cash.
Oh yes, Tom Cruise,
Dustin Hoffman, yep,
and Kevin Bacon. More than once, there was a Kevin Bacon reference, and I definitely didn't have any idea who that guy was.
Yeah, I didn't know who Kevin Bacon was. I didn't know what they meant when they brought up the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I think it was probably just another attempt to make it more comfortable for the grown-ups.
Yeah, probably.
My next one is, my middle name is Philip, after my maternal grandfather, who was a dairy farmer and a retired minister.
Okay, so your parents named you at least partly after him?
Yeah. And when my mom was growing up, he had a dairy farm in a little Pennsylvania area near Pittsburgh called Connellsville.
All right.
Yeah, and they raised 3 kids there. For some part of it anyway. My mom had a pony, and it was a dairy farm, and it was a little Pennsylvania town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's always cool when somebody's named after someone else in the family.
And my brother's middle name, I didn't include this, but my brother's middle name is Thomas, and that's after my dad.
Okay, so he's not like Thomas the Second, but he's still got that name connection to his dad. Got it.
I think he was almost named after Dad. That was one of the names probably they considered. I could be wrong, but it's possible.
Okay.
All right. What do you got next?
All right. I have here. There are many fictional locations that I wish I could visit, but some prime examples of ones that I would really like to see in person are, again, bringing this up, Narnia and various planets from Star Wars.
Like any specific planets, like a Camino or Coruscant, or is that a planet?
I think so. But yeah, definitely Camino. I'm trying to think, what was the name of the planet in the Attack of the Clones that had the factories? It was like a water-based one.
I think that was Camino.
Was that Camino? I keep forgetting.
The rainy planet with all the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound right. So yeah, that's definitely one.
Tatooine.
Possibly. I'm not a big desert person, but I do like fire, so I'd probably go to Mustafar at some point. Then maybe 1 or 2 jungle planets. If I could have like a breathing apparatus, I might go to the Gungan world. Like, you know how he swims underwater and then goes through this like water wall in order to get into the city?
When Jar Jar takes him to that underwater city. Yeah, I know the scene.
Yeah, I'd probably do that as well.
Yeah. When I saw the movie Spy Kids, I dreamed of having that microwave device where you just press a button and instant food. Remember that?
I don't know if I've ever actually seen the Spy Kids films. The closest I ever got was a movie also made by Robert Rodriguez along the same, or at least a similar line, called Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh, I saw that one too.
Yeah, I'd seen that, but I actually don't think I've seen any of the Spy Kids films.
I probably thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. You just put a little card in there, you pop a button, and instantly this whole McDonald's meal appeared. And there was another cartridge for like a meal with potatoes. I thought, I want that thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking if anybody successfully invented that in real life, they would be an instant billionaire.
Or more.
Oh yeah, definitely. People like Jeff Bezos would be jealous.
Get a jump on that, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right. My next one is I do all my shaving with an electric hair cutter.
Okay, so you don't use clippers or scissors or anything?
I don't even use shave gel. All I use is that hair cutter.
Do you feel like it's easier or it works more precisely?
I think it saves time. It saves me kind of saves me stress having to go through cleanup, and I think it makes it easier for me.
You know what? That is completely fair. I completely understand that. I've used an electric one myself too. I just feel like it. Yeah, like you said, it helps cut out a lot of the stress as well.
Well, this isn't a razor. This is an electric tool that we use for cutting hair.
Oh,
so this is
okay.
But yeah, this isn't technically a razor, and I don't know if you try it. I've kind of had to learn how to do it more safely, but I've gotten the hang of it. But if you can get the hang of it, I think it'll work for you probably.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, what's your next one?
All right, number 24, I have written here. In middle school, I had a technology class, or tech class as people call it, where there was a day where we sat down and we all played a game called Typer Shark. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I don't.
It's one of those like typing games, but for whatever reason, it was incredibly addicting. Where you're a diver and there are sharks underwater and you have to type the word on their sides before they get to you. And I bring this up because we actually held little tournaments with that game, and there were 3 different categories, thus 3 different tournaments. One in overall typing speed, one in accuracy, and one in survival, just to see how long you could last. And I won all 3.
You swept them.
Oh, yeah. And they had a special prize. I think it was like a bag of candy or something for the winner. And each time someone went up against me after the first tournament, they were actually kind of frustrated and or worried because they figured they were going to get beat, and they did. And since they didn't, this made perfect sense, but since they didn't want me winning all 3 prizes because they probably didn't expect that, they allowed second place, whoever that may have been, to get the prizes the second and third time.
All right. And my final one is I took an online course on rock history in college.
An online course in what?
Rock music history.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which in a way you could probably say is ironic because I don't have much anyway of a musical background. Definitely not compared to like other people in my family, like my brother and my dad. But but for some reason, I was interested in it, and I still have greatest all time rock songs sheet music book. 100. It was something like 100 greatest all time rock songs. I still have that under the bed,
Okay.
and I and they took you through a kind of like the early development of the art form, and of the roots and the blues stuff, and kind of like the elements of different styles: glam rock, psychedelic rock, and punk, and like jazz, a bunch of like contemporary or rock styles, or what are considered those things.
I mean, that's actually really awesome. I haven't checked out anything like that myself, though I would definitely be interested in it.
And at the end of the year, I did a paper on the career and history of the Beatles.
And how did that go overall?
I think that went well, and I spent I think a pretty long time researching, and that's it. I think I learned quite a few things.
I mean, through all that research, you would probably learn at least a small handful. Yeah.
Well, in the course in general, I mean.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, and you've got one left.
Yep, and my last one is it's kind of like what you said with taking that class and not having a musical background, but in my case, it was an improv comedy class
Did you
that I took in college.
Did you listen to a lot of stand up prior to that?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of stand-up comedians before, like on Last Comic Standing, or just seeing clips on YouTube or whatever. But quite a bit of that interest was after seeing the show Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is heavily centered around improvised comedy. So it's like, oh, you know what? This actually looks like a lot of fun, so I'll give it a try. And I took a class in college, and it really was enjoyable.
So you kind of have some comedic training in your history.
A little bit. I'm definitely not a professional yet, but I would like to at least get better.
If you are into that, I say go for it.
Okay, then I definitely will. I just got to find the time.
All right, so we just got through all of our lists, and thanks to all of you for joining us, and you can stream all of our released episodes on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and feel free to interact with us. And we'll probably be rolling again next week again.
Yeah, and hopefully you all learned a little bit about us that you thought was interesting. Feel free to leave a comment somewhere or a message telling us the most interesting fact about yourself, and we would love to hear from you.
Please chime in as much as you like.
We love having connections. We love talking to you, and we honestly hope to hear from any of you soon.
Okay. Well, next time we are out. We'll see you soon.
So long, everyone.